Look at your hands. They came from your mother and your father. Half of your code from each. A mix of two people who were a mix of two people before them, back and back through a chain that never once broke, all the way to the very first living thing. So you are a copy, a remix of everyone who came before you. But the real answer is far stranger. Because you are not a clean copy. Right now, inside almost every cell in your body, there are around 60 tiny errors. 60 places where your code changed. 60 spots that do not match your mother, do not match your father, do not match any human who has ever lived. You were not just made from your parents, you were made from your parents, plus 60 mistakes. And those mistakes are the reason you are here at all. Let's start with the copy itself. Inside you is a set of instructions written in a 4-letter alphabet. Just 4 letters repeated over and over, about 3 billion of them in a single cell. That code tells your body how to build eyes, how to grow bone, how to fold a protein, how to make a heartbeat. It is the longest instruction manual in the known universe, and you carry a full copy in nearly every cell you own. To make you, that manual had to be copied. Your mother's code, your father's code, merged into one new book, 3 billion letters transcribed by tiny molecular machines working faster than you can imagine. And here's the problem. No copy is ever perfect. Think about copying a single page of text by hand. You would make a mistake. Now copy 3 billion letters. Now do it at blistering speed, inside a living cell, in the dark, with no eraser. Mistakes are not a risk, they are a guarantee. Your body knows this. It built an entire proofreading system just to catch these errors. Molecular editors that scan the fresh code, spot the typos, and fix them before the cell divides. They are astonishing. They catch almost everything. Almost. A few slip through. Every single time. And the ones that slip through the proofreaders and slip through the backup repair crews and survive into the final copy that becomes you, number somewhere around 60. And these are called de novo mutations. New mutations. Changes that appeared for the first time in you. Not inherited, not passed down. Brand new letters written into your code at the moment you were made. How do we know the number is 60? Because someone counted. In Iceland, a company called Decode Genetics did something no one had done at that scale. Led by Kari Stephenson, they read the full genetic code of thousands of families, parents and their children, side by side, letter by letter. Then they looked for the letters in the child that matched neither parent. Those letters could only be one thing. New errors written fresh. The average they found across all those families was around 60 to 70 new mutations per child. Some children had a few more, some had a few less, but nobody had 0. Not one child in the entire study arrived without a single mistake. You did not either. Now here's where it gets stranger. Those 60 mistakes are not shared equally by your parents. The Decode team, working with a researcher named Augustine Kong, found something they did not expect. Most of your new mutations did not come from your mother. They came from your father. And the older your father was when you were born, the more mutations you carry. So why? It comes down to how the two kinds of cells are made. Your mother was born with all of her egg cells already formed, a fixed set made once, early in her own life, and then paused for decades. Your father's cells are different. His body makes new sperm cells constantly, all through his adult life, dividing again and again and again. And every division is another chance to make a copying error. So a 20-year-old father passes on fewer new mutations. A 40-year-old father passes on many more. Roughly 2 extra mutations for every year of his age. The math is quiet, but it is relentless. Every year he waited, added a few more new letters to the code that became you. You are, in part, a record of your father's age, written in the errors. So now you might be bracing yourself. 60 mistakes in the instruction manual that builds your entire body, that sounds like a disaster. That sounds like something should have gone terribly wrong. But it usually doesn't. And to understand why, you have to understand what most of your code actually does. For a long time, scientists assumed that almost all of your DNA was doing something important, and then they looked closer and found that huge stretches of it seemed to do nothing at all. Long, repeating sequences with no obvious job. A Japanese geneticist named Susumu Ono gave it a name that stuck. He called it junk DNA. The name was too harsh, and we now know some of that code has hidden functions. But the core insight held. Most of your genome is not delicate machinery. It is padding, spacer, vast quiet regions where a single change letter often means nothing at all. So when a new mutation lands, where does it land? Almost always somewhere quiet, in a region that does not build a critical part. A letter changes and nothing happens. The body doesn't notice. You never know. This is the heart of an idea from another Japanese biologist, Mutations Kimura. He proposed that most mutations are neither helpful nor harmful. They are neutral. They simply drift along, invisible, doing nothing, riding inside you, and being passed to your children for no reason at all. It was a radical claim when he made it. Today it is a cornerstone of how we understand life. And that neutral drift does something remarkable. Because these silent errors accumulate at a steady, almost clock-like rate, scientists can count them to measure time itself. The more differences between two species, the longer ago they split apart. Your quiet mistakes are a calendar. They can tell you how long ago your ancestors parted ways from a chimpanzee, from a mouse, from a fish. The errors keep time. So most of your 60 mutations are silent passengers. They change nothing. You will never feel them. But not all of them. A few of your mutations land in places that matter, in the code that actually builds and runs your body. And when a mutation lands there, one of three things happens. Most often, it is harmful. It breaks something. A mistake in a critical instruction is like a typo in a recipe that swaps one ingredient for another. The result doesn't work as well. Sometimes it barely matters. Sometimes it does. Most harmful mutations are small stumbles, quietly carried, dragging on the machinery just slightly. Rarely, a mutation is severe. A single wrong letter in exactly the wrong place, causing real disease. Some conditions come down to precisely this: one new error in one crucial spot that neither parent carried. It is nobody's fault. It is the price of copying 3 billion letters. The wonder is not that it happens. The wonder is that it happens so rarely. And then there is the third possibility, the rarest one of all. Sometimes a mutation makes something better. Not on purpose. There's no plan, no intention, no aim. It is pure accident. A random letter changes, and by sheer luck, the new version works a little better than the old one. A protein that folds tighter, an enzyme that grabs faster, a tweak that helps its owner survive 1 degree more than everyone around them. That owner lives, has children, passes the lucky error on. And over enough generations, that single accident spreads through an entire population until it is not an error anymore. It is just how humans are. You can see these lucky accidents frozen in people alive today. Once, no adult human could drink milk. The ability to digest it switched off after childhood. Then, in a few populations that kept cattle, a single mutation flipped that switch back on and stayed on for life. Today, most people of European descent carry it and think nothing of a glass of milk. It began as one error in one person thousands of years ago. High in the Himalayas, another accident lets people thrive on thin mountain air that would leave you gasping. On the coast, other tiny changes let some populations dive deeper and hold their breath longer. Each one a copying mistake that happened to help. Each one kept and passed down and spread. Every good thing about your body was once a mistake like that. Your color vision, your ability to break down starch, the exact shape and size of your brain. Somewhere back down the line, each one began as a random copying error in someone who never knew they carried it and never knew what it would become. Mutations built you. All of you. Slowly, blindly, one accident at a time. But there is a catch, and a scientist named Hermann Muller spotted it almost a century ago. Muller was the first to prove that mutations could be created on demand. He blasted fruit flies with X-rays and watched the errors multiply in their offspring faster than nature ever managed on its own. It won him a Nobel Prize. But it also made him worry because he understood something dark about the process. Mutations accumulate. Generation after generation, the errors pile up. And since most of the ones that matter are harmful, a population that only makes copies with no way to clear out the bad ones would slowly rot from within. He called this idea Muller's ratchet. A ratchet only turns one way, damage in, never out. So why aren't we rotting? Why, after all these generations of errors piling on errors, are humans still here at all? because of the thing that clears them out, the thing that turns the ratchet backward. Every generation, some people carry a slightly worse hand of mutations, and some carry a slightly better one. The better hands, on average, do a little better, live a little longer, have a few more children. The worse hands, on average, fade, not always, not dramatically, just enough across billions of lives to keep the pile of errors from swallowing the species whole. The mistakes flood in, and they get filtered out, in, out, forever. There is one more twist, and it is happening inside you right now. The 60 mutations you were born with were only the beginning. Every day you are alive, your cells keep dividing and keep copying and keep making fresh mistakes. Your skin, your gut, your blood, endlessly renewed, endlessly recopied. By the time you are old, some of your cells will carry thousands of errors the day you were born never had. This is part of what aging is. Not a clock ticking down, but errors slowly building up. A lifetime of copying and copying and copying in a body that can never quite copy itself perfectly. You are the product of that endless copying. 60 new errors in you at birth, layered on top of the errors that survived the filter in your parents and their parents, and everyone back to the start. A living document, endlessly copied, endlessly corrupted, endlessly cleaned. Now think about what that means for the person sitting near you, the stranger on the train, everyone you have ever met. Each of them arrived with their own 60, their own set of brand new letters that no one else on Earth carries in quite the same combination. Multiply that across 8 billion living people, and every single day that a new child is born, hundreds of billions of new mutations enter the human story. A constant, invisible rain of change falling on the species without pause. Most of it is noise, silent letters in quiet regions doing nothing. A little of it is harm, and a tiny precious fraction of it is the raw material for whatever humans become next. You cannot feel your 60 mutations. You will never know exactly where they sit, or what they touch, or which ones you will hand to your own children someday. They are simply part of you now, riding along, waiting to be tested by a world that only keeps what works. So look at your hands again. You thought you were a copy, a faithful remix of the people who made you. But you were never a copy at all. You are a first edition, a version of the human code that has never existed before and will never exist again. Written half by your parents and finished by 60 small, blind, beautiful mistakes. The errors are not the flaw in the design, the errors are the design.